We'll start off between ranking Cole Palmer, Saka and Phil Foden.
This one always starts a debate.
And this debate is juicy because we're looking at Cole Palmer scoring 4 goals in a single half of
Best player in the
football.
Premier League. Best player in the Premier League.
Never been done before in the Premier League, and he looks absolutely outrageous. Could have had a double hat-trick. He was that good. Should we start off with Saka? Where does Saka rank amongst the three? Because he's a bit more of a winger versus the kind of number 10 that Palmer and Phil Foden is. Is Saka world class? Does he rank alongside Foden and Palmer for you guys?
He's number 1 for me. Yeah, Bukayo's number 1 for me. I'm serious. No, I'm being for. I'm not even like, dead trolling. I'm actually being for real.
I'm not.
I think Bukayo's number 1, and I do think he's world class.
I think he's world class.
I think he's world class. I think he's number 1 on that list just because of the consistency, and that's why I give it to him. I think he's been consistent over the last few years since he's emerged into the league. To be fair, he's been a consistent former. Every week he will give you about a 7 or 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
almost every single week. Gets you goals, gets assists. Even this weekend, I think he had the record for the most consistent. Was it 6 games? He's had an assist in a row. I think that's a record for the amount of games to get an assist. So he's been fundamental on 5 or 2 this Arsenal project, and he's still very young.
Yeah,
you have to bear in mind he's so young. For England, he's an important player. So I just think, yes, he might not be the best footballing player to watch on the eye in comparison to the other 2. I think the other 2 are a bit more special in that sense. They're more technical.
Yeah.
But for me, I've always been effectiveness of a player more than eye-pleasing. I've always been
what does he actually do? And he's getting the kind of balls into the box that he delivers. I mean, even on the weekend against Leicester City,
his corners are ridiculous.
The delivery is actually underrated.
Yeah.
And obviously against Man City as well. Yeah. He's got a very, very good left foot in terms of like quality delivery as well.
And Saka.
Yeah, we're talking about Saka, yeah.
No, well, also, if you look at everything that they're doing at the moment, Arsenal, particularly with the set-piece coach who's doing so well and is integral to everything that they're building, we focus on Ben White's contribution maybe at set pieces. We focus on Gabriel's dummy run or Gabriel actually going for the ball, whatever it is. The quality of the ball is the first and most important thing. Nothing else matters. If the ball in cannot be guaranteed. Because also when you're doing these things, when you're trying these set pieces, the reason why Arteta wanted to bring in the set piece coach, I know that they got away with it last week, Arsenal, and got another go and scored when they missed. But generally speaking, you can't do that. You don't get a second bite of the cherry. You have to score because you play your cards, don't you?
Yeah.
Play your cards and they know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
So which is why it was ridiculous that when Arsenal scored last week, it was Gabriel missed one and then Gabriel scored one. Like, that's terrible.
It was almost guaranteed, wasn't it?
It was guaranteed.
It was almost guaranteed.
But what you can't
Miles
do
was sat there, he said this is going to be a goal.
But realistically, you can't do that. Like, it's poor from Man City.
Yeah, it's poor from City's defending, but also it's a bit like when David Beckham used to get a free kick. You knew it was at least going on. I'm not comparing it to David Beckham.
It's a guarantee with Saka. The delivery is a guarantee. And
it's deep, it's got pace, it's got whip on it, it's got venom, he's got very, very good...
That's at the heart of everything. That's at the heart of the entire conversation. How can we be good at set pieces? People always go, well, Ben White needs to do this or Timber needs to do that. Like, hang on a minute. What's the first thing that we need to guarantee?
Yeah.
And it's the quality of the delivery, and he does that every single time.
But do you think Saka's delivery, what he's achieved for Arsenal, his work rate, his link-up play, his goals and assists are fantastic, does that put him above Palmer and Phil Foden for you?
The only reason why you could... You know when you have this conversation, it's a fantastic conversation. They're all elite players. They're all wonderful footballers. And I like them all, actually. What we have to be careful not that we don't do this, though. Like, Saka's been doing it and doing it well for years.
Yeah.
Like, we have to...
5 years.
For 5 years. Like, Phil Foden has been at the epicenter of an outrageously dazzling Man City team for years. Like, when we're factoring in, and look, we could conclude at the end of this conversation that Cole Palmer is number 1. And my vote would actually be that Cole Palmer is number 1. But one thing that you have to acknowledge about Saka is that he has been doing it for ages at the very top level.
Yeah, but Palmer hasn't had the opportunity to do it. As soon as he's come into Chelsea, he's been sensational. In that number 10, over, and that's what we're talking about here, who's the best
this
between
is
the
pure
three.
ranking, best player right now, I think.
Look, right now, on form...
if you're doing it right now, then...
Palmer on form, but he hasn't had the opportunity to do what Saka's done. There's no way, if Palmer's fit, that he and playing at this level, that his reputation isn't similar to Saka's in 5 years.
But do you think so? So, but by that logic,
right.
that logic, do you feel like there's going to be a very uncomfortable conversation coming for Bukayo Saka with regard to his England place?
No, because
no.
he's England. It should be a conversation between Bellingham, Foden, and Palmer for that number 10 position. In my
Midfield
opinion.
positions.
That's what I would say. And you drop Bellingham deep to get the best out of Cole Palmer. Saka, you can't drop.
Do you know what makes Cole Palmer so brilliant?
So good. He's so good.
But do you know what makes him so different and actually so versatile, and why, in my opinion, he's the best? Like, the one thing that I think sets him apart, particularly a player like Saka, what Saka is, he's an amazing talent and an amazing system player. He does a job. Whether that job is very
so
rare. Like,
effective
one of
in
the most kind things that you can say about Saka that sets him apart from anyone is he can at the same time be, and nobody else in the history of the game I think would have been this. He can be the best right winger and the best left back. Like, you know, when we for England,
Put him in any position.
we were talking about England. How do England sort out our problems? We go, do we take our best right winger and put him at left back? It's like the same geezer is the best.
Yeah.
How can he be that good?
Yeah.
But part of what makes Saka so good is the systematic nature of his approach. Do you know what I think makes Cole Palmer so good?
Yeah.
In a world where everything is about system and metrics and pie charts and stats, Cole Palmer is the antithesis of that. He is just he is like a 1970s renegade footballer who plays a little bit on that side, comes in a bit, goes out that wing a bit, scores from everywhere, has like a weird arrogance that is so wonderful.
But it's not arrogance, though, is it? Because he doesn't really have that in his. He doesn't even know what's going on most of the time.
Do you know what the arrogance is, though? It's the arrogance. Have you ever seen? It's a great insight into his character. Have you seen the conversation where they ask him about the potential of missing a penalty? Have you seen his response?
Yeah.
Like,
very nonchalant
he's like missing a penalty. I'm not going to miss a penalty, am I?
Mate, did you not see when they said, "Oh, can you?" Because he scored 4. They recorded the sort of goal celebrations afterwards, and they said, "Do 1, 2, 3," and he goes 1, 2, 3, and he went, "Should we do 4?" And he went, "Okay, yeah, go on, do it." And he goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
And then he scored the 4.
Yeah, I saw that. Amazing.
He pre-recorded this months ago.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
He preempted the 4.
Also, it's the nature of it. Like, he scored a hat-trick in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
He scored 4 in 30-odd. Like, nobody's done. literally nobody has scored.
Yeah.
There are cases
It's
against
historic.
Palmer in a similar way there are for Saka in terms of he's never won the Premier League title. I know Palmer was in Premier League title winning sides, but Palmer against a low block in the Champions League, we just haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen him do it against Bayern Munich, against Real Madrid.
But
I think we'd be very, very short-sighted to not discuss Phil Foden in a little bit more depth, because I think basically Phil Foden is still ahead of Cole Palmer.
Buvey, if you gave me one player to pick, I'd pick Foden. I'd have Foden over the other two.
The reason
exactly.
why
I think he's proven at a higher level.
What I think my equaliser to that, or at least my suggested equaliser that you will probably now debunk, would be it's far harder to. Last season in particular, Cole Palmer was at Chelsea and he was like a jewel. He was a joy to watch. But he was literally, the ceiling was crumbling and he was the one person propping it up. Like, we're playing at Kenilworth Road, we're going to get beat. Cole Palmer doesn't.
Yeah, he was oblivious.
Like, no matter what was going on, no matter what the status at Chelsea, when the owners were falling out with one another and with the manager and whatever else was going on at the club, Cole Palmer scored goals.
And he looked like he enjoyed it. He just looked like he was going out to play.
Chelsea were poor last season at points, weren't they? And that means sides can play higher up. There's a lot more space in behind.
Okay, so this is the question then. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's explore it. Is it harder to score goals my statement is scoring goals for a bad team is more impressive than scoring goals for a good team. Discuss.
Yeah, but the good side of playing against...
Yeah, but
that's why Harry Kane's the best striker the Premier League's ever seen. Over Henry.
For God's sake, we got to stay on track, lads. If Phil Foden's playing for a great side, right, and he's playing against Dortmund to get City towards a Champions League final, and he scores a goal against Dortmund, and he's 20 years old. Palmer hasn't got that history at the moment.
No,
Palmer scored England's goal at the Euros final.
Yeah, didn't start the game.
Yeah, exactly.
When he's given the opportunity, I think he's got the quality.
That makes it better, right?
Who would have sent it back for Spain? Let's be honest.
Oh,
the Champions
Buvey, this isn't nice. This isn't
But
right.
it's not nice to slight a career where this guy at the age of 24, 25, Phil Foden's got 6 Premier League titles. He's got a treble, and he was instrumental in the treble.
I didn't even mention Foden. All I said is scoring goals for.
There's a recency bias here.
And this is anyone around the table, but we completely ignore Phil Foden. It's outrageous.
I still think Phil Foden.
Foden's the best player out.
I still think he's higher than Cole Palmer in this current state. But one thing I do give Cole Palmer over Foden, I think Cole Palmer is a lot more instinctive and a lot more. His improvisation is a lot more better than Foden, for sure. Because I think Foden, we've only ever seen him, like you said, around good plays and a good team and in a good system where we've seen the best out of him. Whereas Cole Palmer just been thrown.
The other thing is when we've seen Foden playing for a manager that isn't very good, Foden isn't very good. We've seen Cole Palmer playing for a manager that isn't very good, and he scored.
At times, Foden was the best player in Europe.
Yeah,
literally last year, this calendar year, Foden was spoken about as one of the best players, if not the best player in Europe. He just hasn't played much this season. There's a recency bias going on here.
What about if you want to just look at the numbers? Like, I saw an amazing. You know, everybody's talking about Cole Palmer scoring the first ever 4 goals in a half.
Yeah.
Listen to this. This one blew my mind.
Yeah.
Right, and I do hope it's correct because it was sent to me in a Chelsea WhatsApp group. Since Cole Palmer made his Chelsea debut, his goal contributions is more than Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland,
Goals and assists.
since Cole Palmer made his Chelsea debut, goal contributions, I think Erling Haaland is 38,
Yeah.
Cole Palmer is 42.
Yeah.
So in 2 years, we'll call it.
Yeah.
Well, no, we won't.
It's
We'll call
year
it.
and a
No,
half.
we won't.
No,
No,
it's
you're
like
not
a year
even
and a bit,
close.
a year
It's a
and a
year and a year and a
Yeah,
smidge.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's got 10. It's 10 this year already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
He's got more goal contributions than Haaland, and he's doing it for Chelsea, a Chelsea team that, for large parts of his first season, were really bad.
Yeah.
You know, we were losing 1-0 at home to Forest and Villa.
But when you win the Premier League, if you do with Cole Palmer, maybe there is a good chance if Pep leaves 1-1-5, whatever we want to discuss about City, there's a good chance Chelsea could win the title in the next few years with the money getting pumped in.
Yeah.
Do it then. Do it the year after. Do it the year after that. Do it in the Champions League.
So do you think we can only define greatness by winning top tier silverware?
No, but
he's
we're
saying-
talking
I
about
get what
someone
you're
that
saying.
has
You're
got that
saying
record.
Like,
Do it
Foden's
over
got
4
mileage.
seasons.
Foden's got mileage. Like you can see that.
So-
I get what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
I'm with Buvey. The reason why I'll still have Foden over Cole Palmer is because of the fact that Foden has been successful and he's been a part of a successful.
What about
team.
this then, Liban?
Yeah.
If we just gave you the opportunity to pick Saka, Foden, or Palmer for Manchester United, you can have one of them.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the money or anything like that.
Saka?
Really?
Yeah, Saka.
For what? Why?
For Saka, because it's one, because of the fact that this is more circumstantial, but I think United, we've lacked a competent, consistent right winger since Ronaldo left. Let's be real. We've had Antonio Valencia come in at one point. We've had
What, left the first time?
the first time.
Oh,
the
wow.
first
Yeah.
time. Let's look
10
at
years ago.
Valencia was a success, though, right?
Valencia was a success, but then he was too one-dimensional, so we made him a fullback.
Yeah.
And ever since then, we've never really had a consistent right. We've had Jesse Lingard play there at times. We've had Joan Mata go out there at times, and their game really and truly is more so down the middle rather than on the right-hand side. So we've never had a consistent
You spent
right
80
winger.
million on Anthony. Yeah.
And United's over history, we've always had solid wingers on it. So whether it was
Yeah.
Ryan Giggs, whether it was David Beckham, whether it was even Nani at one point,
Yeah.
we've always had consistent wingers that always create chances and basically create goals for us. I think Bukayo is probably the best, maybe not just in the league, maybe in Europe.
So you pick Saka out
I
of
think
the three.
Saka's better than Nani.
Saka better than Nani, of
Yeah.
course.
I don't know if he, right now. I don't think he's got the legacy better than Nani. I don't think he does.
Nani, no.
There's a
I
couple
don't
of
think,
seasons.
I don't think Saka even. I mean, Nani even sniffs Saka. I'll be real, and I'm a United.
There was a
fan.
season where he was the best winger in the league, and,
Yeah,
and there's
but
an argument Saka's not even
this
the
is
best
thing,
winger
though.
in the
That's
league
one
right now.
Season, and I know what season you're talking about, the 2010-11 season when we won the league title. But even then, that's one season. I think Saka just been unfortunate not to win a title. Obviously, unfortunately, he's in a period where Man City are successful. Any other period,
Would he start for Real Madrid?
What
Yeah.
about you? What about you then, Flav? If you could have,
Yeah.
we're just going to give you Saka, and don't bring in any tribalism with Saka.
No.
Just the players. Who do you choose?
I think Foden is the best player.
I think you choose Foden.
Yeah, I think consistently and the longevity of his success means that you have to pick him. Palmer could be the best of the three.
I feel like Cole
I
Palmer
agree with
has
that
the
statement, yeah,
ability to end up with like Frank Lampard numbers.
Yeah.
Like I think it's crazy.
Yeah.
Better than
But,
Lampard
the
numbers,
key
like
thing is he's
30
so
goals.
comfortable and casual with this situation. It's like it hasn't affected him. He's left Man City to play football. He's left Man City to play football. You know how important that is. He's looked at it and said, "I'm not going to get a shot ahead of." It would probably been Mahrez. When was he sold?
No, not Mara. It would have been literally
No, it was
Doku
Mahrez.
last season. No, we're talking about last season. It's Doku.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
No, last season when he
No, but
his
when
first season for Chelsea
when
was last
Mahrez
season.
left, that was the opening where somebody at Manchester City should have had the vision to think that Cole Palmer is
yeah.
needed.
Of course,
and should have sold him.
Of course, yeah.
Are you yet on the train that selling Cole Palmer was an error? 60 million
No,
for
it was
Doku,
definitely an
40
error.
million.
It was an error. It was an
No,
error.
but
Looking back on it now,
Buvey's
yeah,
been
it was
fighting
an error.
me. I've been.
No.
Do you know what I'm doing every
definitely
week?
Yeah.
I'm forcing Buvey into a corner where ultimately I'm making it impossible for him to
But
not
what is
say
this
these words.
What is this back?
I
to the
need to
future?
hear him say the words.
What are we doing back?
I need to.
the future?
No, but
just say it was a
to be-
mistake.
What do you want?
Yeah,
Get,
say it was a
what do you
mistake.
want?
Just say
Get
it
into
was
that car and go back to 1982. I mean, you
What was the
can't
car
go
called?
Huh?
What was the car
The
called?
silver one.
What was it called?
Yeah.
If you've got
famous
skills,
car.
come on, you like film.
What was it? What was it?
DeLorean.
DeLorean. Yeah.
No, hang on, Booth, you can just say it was a mistake with
It was
hindsight.
a mistake. Just
It wasn't
admit-
at the time. It wasn't.
No, at the time, you're right. At the time,
No,
this guy is
no,
why not?
no,
He's such
no,
a
no,
why not.
Leave. Don't
let him off.
Don't
Don't
do
let
it.
him
Why
off.
not? I will not tolerate
No,
it. Let me tell you
yeah,
why.
yeah.
Because what I've had to tolerate for years, and
Yeah.
it's correct.
Yeah.
People will go to me. You lot were so dumb for letting De Bruyne leave.
Good, yeah.
You lot were so dumb
I
for
never
letting
said that.
Salah leave.
I never joined that
You always
bandwagon.
said it. You always
When
said
did
it.
I say
De
that?
Bruyne, you always say it.
When?
And you know when we let Salah leave, we won the league.
Yeah.
So I could easily go. Well,
I never
it was
said
a mistake
Salah.
at the time.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a
I
mistake.
never
at the
said
time.
Salah.